Ever get the feeling that your friendships are, well, a little less than perfect?
Yeah, like maybe even a little messy sometimes.
Definitely
A
messy.
bit chaotic even.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Full of those moments where you're just like, what is going on here? But you know what?
Is that
There's something kind of hilarious about it, all right?
like that?
That shared sense of we're all in this crazy thing called life together and we're just going to roll with the punches.
Absolutely. And finding the humor in those
Mm.
imperfect connections, that's what we're all about today.
Exactly. And we're taking a deep dive into a show that's known for its, well, its unique take on friendship.
A show that was famously about nothing.
But you know what they say about nothing?
What's that?
Sometimes nothing is really something pretty special.
True. That, and we're talking, of course, about Seinfeld.
Ah, Seinfeld. The show where the characters are always scheming, always getting into some sort of hilarious predicament, and yeah, their friendships are anything but conventional.
It really makes you wonder if our real-life friendships operate on a similar kind of logic.
Right, like maybe there's more to these seemingly dysfunctional relationships than meets the eye.
And that's what's so fascinating about Seinfeld. It's a sitcom,
Yeah.
sure, but it has this enduring appeal because the characters and their interactions feel so real, so relatable, even if it's in a slightly exaggerated kind of way.
Exactly. So our mission today is to dig into that ironic humor that Seinfeld is so famous for.
And see if we can extract some real, genuine insights about the nature of friendship.
It's about embracing the messiness, the imperfections, and finding a way to laugh at it all.
Because let's face it, real life is rarely picture perfect, and friendships are no exception.
Okay, so let's jump right in and talk about the core four, Jerry, Elaine, George, and Kramer.
Now, this is a quartet that's constantly at odds with each other.
Oh yeah, they're always bickering. They're often incredibly self-absorbed.
Their idea of support is usually just waiting for their turn to talk about themselves.
Exactly. And yet somehow they stick together.
There's this undeniable bond that keeps them coming back for more.
It makes you wonder what's the glue that holds these relationships together?
Well, I think Seinfeld uses irony brilliantly to expose some fundamental truths about these friendships and maybe about friendship in general.
So how does that play out specifically?
Well, the humor often comes from the contrast between how the characters see themselves and how they actually behave.
Oh yeah, like George Costanza, the master of self-deception.
Exactly. He's always scheming. He's always lying.
He's got a fake job, fake name, even a fake girlfriend at one point.
And his schemes almost always backfire spectacularly.
But somehow Jerry and Elaine keep him around.
It's a classic example of situational irony. We see George's flaws so clearly, but his friends seem to tolerate them, maybe even find them endearing in a strange way.
And then there's Lane Benez, the queen of brutal honesty.
Oh yeah, she does not hold back.
Her wit is sharp as a tack, but it can also be really cutting.
And sometimes it feels like she doesn't even realize how hurtful her comments can be.
It's almost like dramatic irony. The audience can see the potential for disaster, but Elaine just keeps plowing ahead.
And yet her friends put up with it.
Maybe it's because they know that deep down, Elaine cares about them, even if she has a really funny way of showing it.
Or maybe they've just learned to appreciate her honesty, even when it stings a little.
And then there's Kramer, the unpredictable force of nature.
Ah, Cosmo Kramer, the ultimate wild card.
He bursts into Jerry's apartment without knocking. He's always got some crazy scheme brewing.
And his presence just throws everyone's lives into chaos.
But here's the thing, they don't shut him out.
They might complain, they might roll their eyes, but they're drawn into his orbit.
I think it's because Kramer represents this element of pure absurdity that they all secretly crave.
It's like he gives them permission to let go of their inhibitions, to embrace the unexpected.
And then there's Jerry, the observer, the comedian who's always analyzing the world around him.
Jerry's humor is often based on pointing out the ridiculousness of everyday life.
And he uses that humor to dissect his friend's behavior.
It's like he's the narrator of their shared story.
But he's not just an observer. He's a participant. He's right there in the thick of it with them.
And even though he might maintain a certain distance through his jokes, he's still very much a part of the group.
Now, one of the things that made Seinfeld so unique was its famous no hugging, no learning rule.
Right, the creators were adamant that the characters wouldn't have those big sentimental moments or undergo any major personal growth.
It was a deliberate choice to avoid the kind of predictable arcs that you often see in sitcoms.
And I think that's what makes Seinfeld so refreshing.
Yeah.
It's honest, it's realistic, it's like they're saying people don't really change that much.
Exactly. And friendships often involve accepting people for who they are, flaws and all.
We might learn to live with those flaws to navigate around them, but they're always going to be there.
And that's okay.
It's part of what makes those relationships unique and enduring.
But despite all this self-interest, the petty squabbles, the lack of emotional depth, there's this sense of community that emerges from their shared experiences.
They're constantly getting into these bizarre situations together.
Like the time they got banned from the Soup Nazis restaurant,
Or when they couldn't get a table at the Chinese restaurant.
or when Jerry wore the puffy shirt on national television.
These shared misadventures become part of their collective history.
And even though they might complain about each other, they're always there for each other in their own weird way.
It's like they're a dysfunctional family bound together by shared absurdity.
And it's not always about the big dramatic events either.
So much of Seinfeld is about the mundane, the everyday annoyances of life.
Like waiting for a table, finding a parking spot, dealing with a chatty neighbor.
And the humor comes from how these characters react to these situations.
They find ways to make the ordinary extraordinary.
And they do it together.
It's a reminder that friendship isn't always about grand gestures or deep conversations.
Sometimes it's about the little things, the shared experiences, the inside jokes that only you and your friends understand.
And the humor that comes from those shared experiences can be incredibly validating.
We see these characters being selfish and awkward and petty, and we recognize those qualities in ourselves.
It's like they're giving us permission to embrace our own imperfections.
And to find humor in the messiness of life.
Because let's face it, nobody's perfect, and that's okay.
In fact, it's kind of what makes life interesting.
And maybe that ironic, detached way that the Seinfeld characters interact is actually a coping mechanism.
It's a way to deal with the inherent challenges of close relationships.
Because, let's be honest, friendships can be messy. They can be demanding. They can be frustrating.
And sometimes we need a little bit of distance to protect ourselves.
So maybe that irony, that detachment is a way to maintain those bonds without getting too overwhelmed.
It's like saying, I care about you, but I also need my space.
And that's a perfectly healthy way to approach any relationship.
So what's the key takeaway here? What can we learn from Seinfeld's unique brand of friendship?
I think it's that real friendships are rarely picture perfect.
They're messy, they're complicated, they're full of contradictions.
But that's okay.
In fact, it's those imperfections that often make those relationships so strong, so resilient.
It's about accepting people for who they are, flaws and all.
And finding a way to laugh at the absurdity of it all.
So maybe the next time you find yourself getting annoyed with your friends,
Or feeling like your friendships are a little less than ideal.
take a step back.
Find the humor in the situation.
Remember that nobody's perfect,
And embrace the messiness.
because that's where the real connection lies.
And who knows, maybe you'll even discover that those flaws, those quirks, those things that drive you crazy are actually the things that make your friendship so special, so uniquely yours.
And just like the Seinfeld gang, you'll find a way to navigate the chaos together.
And maybe even have a few laughs along the way.
So go out there, embrace the absurdity of friendship,
Find the humor in the imperfections.
and remember, it's all about the journey, not the destination.
And with the right people by your side, even the most mundane moments can become unforgettable adventures.
So until next time, keep it real, keep it messy,
And keep laughing.
because life's too short to take it all too seriously.
And friendships are too precious to let a little dysfunction get in the way.
Absolutely. See ya.
See ya. Take care.
Take care.